every year I try and pick a word of my favorite word of the year. Like, this is my word of the year. In the last 2 years, I've had the same word. And the word that is my word of the year this year, is the same for last year, is agency.
Oh,
Okay, I can tell you like this word.
I like that word, yes.
Because part of what you're talking about really is people don't have a sense of agency.
Yes.
They don't have a sense of what's in my control.
Yes.
And how do I kind of feel that comfort, that agency? Like, I'm enough for the world. I'm not overwhelmed by it. I'm enough. So how, maybe this is a big question, maybe this is $1 billion question. How do you get that? How do we help people reclaim that or rediscover that?
And that is the big question. I, over the past couple of years, I've spent so much time reading about COVID and its impact on our mental health and where we go from here. And I think part of the reason I keep reading is because I keep hoping that somebody will have a better answer than the answers that I'm reading. But the answer that I keep coming back to, and how do we take care of ourselves? How do we safeguard our mental health right now? And it comes back to this idea of agency, identifying what you can and you cannot control. I cannot control this person next to me who doesn't believe the way I do, who doesn't behave the way I think they should behave, but I can control myself. I can control how I respond. I can control how I internalize what that person's doing. I can control if I stay in this job. I can control my mindset around this job. And we really resist identifying what we can and can't control because we want to put all of our energy inevitably towards the things we can't control, right? I just want to ruminate over this person who's driving me crazy, and I want to ruminate over my boss and how I think they're not leading the company well, and I want to ruminate over these family members that are driving me crazy. And we put all of our energy there rather than recognizing, yes, there is so much in this world that I can't control, and it can be big, scary stuff, but there's actually a ton that I can control. I can control when I get up in the morning and if I run late, and then if I'm stressed in traffic. There are things that I can control. And so really, almost like setting a firm internal boundary with ourselves of, let me get real clear. What can I control and what do I need to release and surrender? And I just have to every day or every hour just keep putting those things down, just keep putting my boss down, just keep putting the family member down, and let me focus on what it is that I can control.
So hearing you say that sparked something for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And you used the word ruminate. And I love that, but it actually sparked a different image for me. It sparked the image of being in a room. Being in a room, the same room, every day, over and over again, for 2 years, looking at a camera and having meetings on Zoom or Teams, and every day is like the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. It's like you wake up and it's the same song and you go through the same routine every single day. And in the beginning, I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, you don't have to deal with traffic, and you can just be in your pajamas, and in fact, no one knows what pants you're wearing. Like I had a client, he always wears suits, and the other day he was at home and he was wearing kind of a nice golf shirt. He's like, I got to fix the window. He stands up, he's just wearing like shorts. It was hysterical, like elastic shorts. I was like, well, okay, Andrew, I guess you do you, man. That's great. But I have found in the beginning, while I love that, the more I spent time in that room, I ruminated. The more I spent time in that room, I ruminated about all the things you mentioned.
That's right.
I wasn't going out. So it does prompt us to go out. Now, I also noticed, this is something I want to talk to you about, as I started going out doing more public speaking, I was having panic attacks. Like stuff that had never happened to me before. Like it was freaking me out. I was really getting anxious, and I was losing my voice. It was because I was rusty. I don't know what it was. So it pivots into another word that I think is important for us, which is challenging, and that's resilience, right? And building that muscle, which is forcing us to leave the room and go out. I mean, because I think it's really hard to accomplish what we're talking about here if you're going to ruminate in the room. Absolutely. If you're in the room, you're ruminating. So you've got to leave the room, which I think is a challenge. So that was all what went through my head as you were talking. I would love to get your reaction to that, if that feels true to you, and if so, what do we do with that?
And I completely agree with you, about the impact of being at home and the screen and the room, and it's We're now 2.5 years, and so it's going to be interesting to see the impact of remote work, because the thing about it, it does isolate us, and we are not our mentally healthiest selves in isolation. And as much as you maybe hated your commute into the office and you really didn't want to hear about Bob's weekend, that's actually healthy for you. The commute is a healthy transition, and that small chat and the door jam conversations, they are variety that keep your mind sharp and awake and alert. And so, yes, it does come down to how do we build resilience? And resilience is such an interesting word of, we often think it's one thing, but in my opinion, I think it's another. And what I discovered in the pandemic is, for a lot of people, like, you gotta be resilient. So you just gotta keep on keeping on. You gotta choose joy, and that's really not not resilience. Resilience, I have found, particularly over the past 2 years, it is naming the hard. And it is saying, this is really hard. This is what's making me feel anxious. I love public speaking, but I feel abnormally anxious right now doing it. This feels odd to me, almost not in my skin. And it's naming what is actually going on, the hard, the good, the bad. And then it's using the word and. So this is hard. This feels really anxious. I'm not enjoying this like I used to. And I know that I have the skill set to do this. And I believe that I can figure out a solution. And I believe I will be okay, even if I don't know what okay really looks like right now. Mm-hmm. And so resilience is developing that mindset of naming your reality, the good, the bad, the ugly of the reality, and cultivating the I can belief. I can do this. I don't like this. I don't like pandemic living, and I can do it. And I think that is just a really important part of resilience, because oftentimes we think of resilience as just positive thinking,
right.
and it's not necessarily. It is learning to identify the reality and cultivate that voice of truth in your mind.